Hey guys, today we're gonna make apple pie. And I have a special guest cook today. Gray!
It's me!
Yay, Gray. Gray's gonna help cook apple pie.
I'm going, yes.
It's gonna be delicious. I hope. Yay!
Yay!
Get to the point.
For the dough, we're going to need some all-purpose flour, very cold water, 2 sticks of butter, salted or unsalted, salt, and that's it. That's it. For the pie, we need sugar, our array of spices, including allspice, cinnamon, and nutmeg, a bushel of apples, or just 5, some chocolate, which the chocolate has nothing to do with the pie. We just need to put. Got back. We're also going to need some aluminum foil and a pie plate. I don't know how well you can see that. If you don't have one of these contraptions, then it's going to take you a long time to peel your apples. I love this thing. You can peel an apple in like 3 seconds. But otherwise, you can use a vegetable peeler. We'll need a knife anyways and cutting board. But also, we'll need a rolling pin and 2 large bowls. If you have a food processor, I recommend using it. If you don't, you can use a pastry blender or a fork. I usually list the ingredients in the description, so if you need to have a list of the ingredients, click on the description. The first thing we're going to do is make the dough, and this needs to be done ahead of time because you need to put it in the fridge for a couple hours, at least an hour, probably 4 hours, but whatever you got, whatever time you got. This doesn't have to be super exact. So we're gonna use 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. To that, we're gonna add a cup of butter, which is 2 sticks. Normally, you would use unsalted butter, but all I have right now is salted butter, so I'm just going to omit the salt. And if you're using unsalted butter, you're gonna put in 1/2 teaspoon of salt.
Can I eat some of that butter?
No. You can eat it when it's pie dough. So I'm just gonna pulse this.
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
Just want to add a little water at a time. the dough has just about come together. It doesn't need to form a dough yet. That's what the flour on the countertop is for. So we're gonna put it all on the countertop. You're gonna bring it together. You don't need to knead it, just kind of make it into a ball. And this will make a 2-crust pie. So I'm just gonna cut this in half. I'm gonna stick these balls. I'm gonna put my balls in the fridge.
That's kinky.
Wrap them up.
Oh yeah, wrap those balls.
What?
Nothing.
I just figured out what you said. Bro. All right, and if you have 4 hours, that's great. If you only have an hour, that's fine. Overnight works too. Put them in the fridge. See you in a couple hours. Okay. Let's get stuff cleaned up while we're waiting for the dough to rest. I like to measure all my stuff out first. 3/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Doesn't have to be exact. 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. And allspice, I like to do kind of rounded-ish, 1/4 teaspoon.
Spices.
And a cup of sugar. And we can go ahead and mix those up. I'm gonna smell it. It smells all spicy. I'm gonna put in another 1/4 teaspoon of, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. And then since I added more cinnamon, I'm gonna add another shake of nutmeg. It's a science, people.
It's all about the vibes. Whatever you feel is right in your soul.
We're also gonna add 2 tablespoons of flour to this.
Totally did not forget.
No, we didn't forget.
Did not forget at all about the flour. You're definitely supposed to add to that.
So I'm gonna just put in maybe another tablespoon of flour. Because I didn't go by the recipe. I have it all memorized because I'm that awesome. You don't need to watch me stir in it. And we wait for the apples. So I don't like to add lemon juice. So as I'm cutting the apples, I'll sprinkle the sugar onto the apples and mix them up as I get them ready. Also, so the apples don't turn brown. Okay, our dough is chilled. We're gonna take one of these.
We're rolling, by the way. Just so you know.
And roll it out. I'm gonna put flour on my rolling pin. We wanna get this kind of thin because you don't want a big, giant, thick crust on your pie. And your question is it big enough? That's what she said.
Size doesn't matter.
So we want it to be fit and then have like a whole even area around it that's gonna be like 1 inch or 2. This probably will fit, but I want it to be a little bit bigger and a little thinner. So I'm just squishing it down into the pie plate and I'm letting the excess hang over. When you are making a blind bake pie crust, you want to leave at least a little bit of the overhang on here because it will shrink up into the pie plate. I baked a pie crust one time and it shrunk all the way and there was only a bottom layer in it. And I had to start over. So leave some overhang. You don't need to leave this much overhang, but some overhang. Poke holes with your fork that allows for, I don't know, steam to escape maybe? I don't know. But do that. Line it with parchment paper. Fill it as much as you can with beans, then bake it. So I like to use Fuji apples. They're very sweet. You can use whatever apples you like.
Excuse me, sir, this is a professional recording studio. Please keep it down. Thank you. Okay, that goes for you too. Watch.
Sometimes you just gotta get in there with your hands. Make sure every piece is coated with the sugar. The sugar magic. And you want to squish it down in there because you don't want big air pockets. Squishy, squishy. Don't squish it too hard because it'll poke your dough in the bottom. So we have a baking sheet. We're going to line it with foil. And turn the oven on 500. We're gonna turn it down once the pie goes in, but right now, 500. We're gonna roll this one out just like the other one. If you can cut a straight line, you know what? About that width. Now, I'm gonna just moisten around the edge. You just ate that piece of dough. Gross. Tasty.
So I'm still leaving an overhang because I'm going to fold it up and kind of get all the edges of the lettuce folded up into the edge of the dough. This is how I do it. If you find a better way, more power to you.
Okay, now I'm just going to take this and fold it up over. And it's going to glue the lattice in place as long as it's still wet. And you can do something special with this if you want, like get a fork and crimp it around the edge. It might make it look nice. Okay, I'm going to attempt to do the thing with your finger. We'll see how it looks. So you squish it with your finger and you kind of just squish the edges of the pie. You go around like that, just squishing the pie. Fold it, not super tight. Fold it in half again. Fold it this way. And so then it's going to be this big. All right, so this is the middle. This is where all the folds come together. So I'm going to put that in the middle, and then I want to make a little mark about right there. So I just want the foil to cover the pie. So now I'm going to go just below that little mark and cut a slightly curved piece out. Then I'm going to carefully unfold this because I want the outer edge. And this, if you don't have a little crust protector thing that you can buy for pies, this will work. So you just carefully unfold, and then you set it right on top of the pie, and it will protect the outer crust of the pie.
Nice. 10 out of 10. Would bake again.
Get it on the way. I'm going to put it down to 400. Put the pie in, right on top of our preheated cookie sheet.
Use your oven safety mitts.
This is cold.
The racks in the oven are hot.
I'm not going to touch those.
You might accidentally touch
I'm just going to put the pie in the oven.
Careful! Ah! Whoa, careful! Oh yeah.
Let's close it.
And remember, kids, be sure to wear the proper safety equipment when you're dealing with hot stuff in the hot oven.
Now we're going to bake that for 30 to 45 minutes.
You should leave that whole thing in.
It's been 30 minutes. Chicken. Take that off. And stick it back in. It's not quite done yet. You want to look for like boiling hot apples.
Bubbly apples.
Bubbly apples. 15 plus 7 is 20. So it's been about 22 more minutes. And the pie's finally done. Oh. Look at that. Had a little leak, but that's okay. That's what the tray is for.
Hey, I baked you a pie. pie.
Oh boy, what flavor?
Pie flavor. Ba-doo!
Today's episode was brought to you by the color gray, the letter B, and my friend Brenda, who wanted me to just make pie dough.
Thanks, Brenda.
Thanks, Brenda. Bye.
Bye. Enjoy your pie.